Hi guys and gals, today we're gonna talk about the leg. More specifically, we're gonna target the glutes. I'm gonna give you a great exercise for developing your glutes, which is really safe, and all you need is just a resistance band. But before going through that, first I'm gonna give you an exercise that I do not really like to do, but a lot of people do it because they wanna target the glutes. I'm gonna first show the exercise and then I'm gonna go through the details why I do not like to do that exercise. So when I do the special exercise that I have for you, you're gonna understand why I like to do this exercise. So first of all, we're gonna do the exercise that's not my favorite, but still a lot of people do. It's called the kneeling squat. So basically, you're gonna do a squat with a bar on your back, but you're gonna be on your knee. So you go down, up. So this is basically how you do the exercise. Now, although this is targeting the glutes, if you go through the good range of motion that it has, there is nothing wrong with the range of motion. But the problem is, first of all, you're on your knees, so if you go a little bit heavy, which is possible because the glutes are pretty much strong, you're gonna put a lot of pressure on your patella or your knee bone, which is not something that you really want. And second of all, it's not that much safe. So if you sit down and you see that you're not having that sprint to come up, unless you've got some kind of safety bar on your side, it's really gonna be hard for you to let go of the weight, so it's not that much safe. The third reason that I do not like this exercise is it's not doing all the functions of the glute as well. So I already have a video about the best glute exercise that I like to perform regularly. I'm gonna put a link up in this video if you're watching from my YouTube channel. And in that video, I explained that the glutes, the three different muscles that are in this region, so your gluteal region, which has three parts, they do three main jobs. First, they extend the hip, so they bring the leg back and they extend the hip. Second, they abduct the hip as well. So when you raise the leg, you abduct, you're gonna feel it in the glute as well. And third, they externally rotate the hip. So again, extension of the hip, abduction of the hip, and external rotation of the hip. What you're doing here is just you're extending the hip. There is no external rotation, and also there is no abduction. So you're putting a lot of pressure on your knees, you're in a vulnerable position, a lot of pressure on your back, which if you do not handle it correctly, it can hurt you. Also, if you do not put the bar in a good place, you're hurting your spine in the cervical region or the neck, or even you can hurt your scapula as well if you go a little bit heavy and you do not know how to keep the bar. Also, you need a lot of strength overall in your body to do it. Again, the glutes are really strong and you're using your entire body to just train the glutes, and it's gonna fatigue you. So it's really possible that other parts of your body are gonna be fatigued sooner than your glutes. So what can you do? What is the alternative? All you need is just a resistance band. You can also perform it with a cable, but a resistance band is a lot better. So we're gonna do all those things that I mentioned just by using a resistance band. All you need to do is make a circle in here like this, and put your leg all the way inside and bring it a little bit higher than your knee. Not on your knee, a little bit higher. You do not need to bring it lower, although I see a lot of people do it, but that's just gonna put a lot of pressure on the knee. And again, as mentioned, your glutes are really strong, and you do not need to include other joints in the middle, either lower than your hip or higher than your hip, to do hip exercises. There is no reason for that. So bring it a little bit higher, and you can also grab something beside you, so like some plates or dumbbells or something, to just have more stability. But because you're on the ground, it's going to be a lot more stable than doing I don't know, a standing cable leg extension. So you're going to be stable, but if you want to go a little bit hard, you can have something in here as well. You're going to lay down, a straight body, go back, make sure you have the band stretched from the beginning. You bring the leg forward and point the toes down, so you're internally rotating, you're flexing the hip, and also you're adducting the leg, the hip as well, so you're stretching the glutes in all those three ways that we talked about. So internal rotation, adduction, and also flexion. The three opposing things that the glute does, so it means you're stretching it. And from this position, you go and extend the hip, abduct the hip, and also externally rotate. So three opposite things that it already is doing. So you go back, 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 back here. Again, external rotation, extension of the leg, and abduction of the hip. So I'm gonna do it standing up as well. So again, abduction, extension, and external rotation. And the opposite of all of them is internal rotation, flexion, and adduction. So you go forward, you do all those three things to stretch, and then you go back and use all the glute muscles. Again, I'm gonna perform it. You can also do them one by one as well. So instead of doing all three, which is this, you can just extend the hip, or just externally rotate, or abduct. You can do two of them at the same time as well. So you can abduct and externally rotate. You can abduct and extend. You can extend and externally rotate. So you have a lot of freedom in here as well. But make sure you stretch it as well. So bring it all the way forward, so the hip is stretched. Also make sure your body is in a straight line, so that way you're gonna have a better contraction. And of course, if you're using a resistance band, the more you bring yourself back, the resistance is gonna be higher. So if you're really concerned with the stretch, you should just bring it a little bit back, so when you come forward, you have a little bit of resistance in your stretch as well. But if you're more concerned with the contraction and you want to have a good contraction, bring it a little bit forward, so you can have better range of motion in the back. Because again, resistance band is going to be really tough when you stretch it. If you go all the way back, you might not be able to extend or abduct or externally rotate to that extent.